Hi guys, it's Mary Davies here. I am so excited to be part of State of Search 2020. We're doing it a little bit different this year, but I wanted to bring a little Gillies action to my session. So let's all look at this, pretend we're there for a second, envision it. I'm there, you're there with me. Okay, we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna talk about how to improve reviews and gain brand loyalty. Very quickly, we're gonna say who I am, because that's sort of what we do. So I am Mary Davies. I'm president of Beanstalk Internet Marketing, a company that I started with my husband in 2004. So we've been at this a good long while. I really am super passionate about the human side of internet marketing. So user experience and social media and brand loyalty building and customer connections, all of that good stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Of course, I have a personal life. I love to bike, ski, my cat, my kids, you know, good stuff. So if you want to learn more about me, if you want to chat more to me, you can connect with me on Twitter or LinkedIn or also via email, and we can do that later, because right now we're going to jump into the session. So what we're going to chat about today is really about how when we connect with people on a human level, we can create that brand loyalty that we're after and really turn those upset customers into brand advocates, which is something we're always after, of course. So let's dig right in. So we're essentially going to be putting some squeaky shoes on our customers that are a little unhappy. We have to start with something happy, guys, so check it out. Have you ever had customers that look like that? Oh, but look, there's the smile. Oh, but wait, I'm mad. So cute. So what we're going to do really, and what that dad was doing, was responding rather than reacting. We're going to sort of work along with our clients or customers when they're having a bad moment. And here's how we're going to go about that. So number one, first and foremost, is take a pause. It's really easy for us to be reactionary if we're sort of, you know, you feel the blood boiling, you get defensive, whatever it might be when something comes at you. You know, it might be like an angry tweet. It might be a chat support message starting out with the like, I hate you, whatever it might be. So we're just going to take a moment, take a pause. I like to just take a walk around the block if I need to, or, you know, sometimes it makes better sense to just pass it on to somebody else on the team. But first and foremost, we need to make sure that we're taking a moment so that we're in the best position to have the right conversation that's going to help us to connect well with our less than pleasant, unhappy customer. So next, we're going to, after you've taken that pause, begin with gratitude. So you know, something as simple as thank you for taking the time to send this message. I really appreciate the feedback. Thanks so much for bringing this concern to my attention. These are things that we often do see when we're, you know, in chat support or you know, getting an email back. But often this is tacked on to the end. And I really like to begin with this because that's really our first foot forward is gratitude. And it really validates the person on the other side of, you know, of the email or the chat or whatever it might be. And it also helps us to sort of get our own minds into that positive space as well. So it sort of, you know, does a little bonus for them and a bonus for yourself. And I really like to begin with that. Don't tack it on as an afterthought at the end. And oh, right, a little tip. Use I and me instead of we and our. It's very easy for us to go, we really appreciate the feedback, especially when you're at a large organization. Just switching that out to I is a simple way for it to be a me and you conversation rather than a big corporation and little guy conversation. So that's a really easy thing to switch up. I won't give you all the examples. You can figure it out. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I have faith in you. So let's jump into number 3. We're going to acknowledge each and every concern. So, you know, here we have somebody who's a little bit upset. You can see I've emailed twice. I've done business with you for several years. This last order was terrible. There was a missing item. It leaked. Like, it was just, this is bad, right? This is not something that we want to have come to us. So what we want to do is, it would be really easy for us to reply to this and go like, oh, I'm really sorry, you know, that this didn't work out for you, and that was terrible, and we're going to fix it, and we'll send you a new lotion. But what we want to do is want to really just make sure that we acknowledge each and every concern that they've brought up. There's a couple of reasons why we want to do this. Oops, I went ahead of myself. There's a couple of reasons why we want to do this, and one of them is to make sure that they feel heard. The other one is to make sure that I haven't missed something. So it's really a bonus for both of us. And it shows them that you're taking the time to listen, and it shows them that each and every one of the elements in the message that they sent matters to you. And I'm taking the time to point out the good thing too. You know, I really appreciate your business as a longtime customer, because they've mentioned that they have been a longtime customer. So it's not just about like the oops, you know, that was a mess up, but it's also about the positivity. So just really take the time and then break it up digestibly. You know, so here we have, you know, good spacing between each point. So it's not just one big block of text. Now we can get to the next slide here. So we're going to make sure that we empathize and relate as well. So anytime that you can see a moment where you can sort of connect an experience that you've had with an experience they're having, and we can do that for positive and we can do that for negative. It doesn't really matter. Just anytime that you can really see a good time to do that, I say, you know, go for it. That's what creates the human connection. So a really good example of this here is we have a really positive review, starting with super fast shipping, even during tough times. So I was able to, you know, in this moment say, you know, the past few weeks have been challenging for all of us, and it gives us great pride to meet your expectations. So it's, you know, this is a positive thing, but, you know, they're talking about, because this was just as COVID was sort of, you know, doing its thing here earlier in the spring, it was really a good time for us to be able to sort of, you know, create that we're in this together moment. So again, yeah, you can do that for positives, for negatives, anytime that you can see that it would make sense to do, just make sure that you do it. So then, yeah, last within the respond and rather than react section of this session is very important. Your long day is not their problem. So I think it's really easy for us to get sort of exhausted if we're in the customer support zone, or, you know, if you're a small business, you're probably doing, you know, everything. You putting all your different hats on. A lot of the time, the negative reviews, the support messages and emails, they all come in sort of in gluts because something has gone wrong. It might be an event that had an issue, or it might be a product that, you know, is breaking, or whatever, the manufacturing problem. So oftentimes it can be really easy to get sort of worn out. So you got, you know, find your zen, picture that glass of wine on the couch later tonight, whatever it is that you got to do, and make sure that, you know, you've got the long goal in mind. And as much as it's really, really hard to sort of be the punching bag of the internet, it's going to be worth it in the long run to just sort of, you know, suck it up, push through. These are the customers of your tomorrow, and these are the reviews that will last. So yeah, just sort of hold on to the end of the day moment and push through as best you can. So we're going to step into the next section here, which is creating and nurturing positivity. Number one here, this I think is one of the greatest way that you can really encourage positive reviews as well. So if we highlight positive reviews, people see them and then they want to be a part of that. And it also shows that you're appreciating the reviews that people are leaving as well. And, you know, a lot of people are very ego driven. They want to see themselves highlighted. So it's something that we can do really, really easily. These are on social. You can highlight people in your newsletters. You can highlight them on your site. I like to have, you know, my reviews front and center on a homepage if possible, and then really personalizing them, you know, having a photo attached to it if we can do that. But the more you sort of showcase those positive reviews, the more you will encourage the positive reviews. And then bonus points for the fact that it literally just, you know, is sort of a way to sort of sing your own praises without looking like you're doing so. Because right here, we're, you know, I've framed it in a way that we love our amazing community. So it's really a, you know, showing appreciation for the reviews, but at the same time, I am actually self-promoting myself. So But shush, don't tell. Okay, let's hop into number 2 here. So we're going to use inclusive wording. So that's, words like family, community, like-minded, collective. These are some of the examples I have here. But I'm sure you know what I mean. And I'm seeing this more and more and more in marketing lately. And it's something that I've always been a big fan of, whether somebody's signing up for a newsletter or joining a Facebook group, or whatever it might be, but using that, welcome to our community. We're grateful for you, to have you as a part of the Beanstalk family, it would be for my company. That sort of wording is really, really helpful to help people to feel like they're part of something. And that really nurtures that connection and that emotional connection specifically with your brand, with your company. And I think, especially in times like these, so many of us are at home, working from home, or we don't even have just that office sort of, mingling going on as much anymore. A lot of people are feeling quite disconnected in a lot of ways, even more so than they, might have in the past. And I think that, they're really striving for and looking for that community. So we really want to use this opportunity to sort of create that for them, not just say, oh, you are part of my community, but actually create it as well. We won't go into, the creation of it, but today, because we don't have time to do that, but yeah, just really making sure that we're using that wording that helps them to go, okay, right, I'm part of something, I belong to something. You want me to be here. I'm gonna, make friends here. That sort of thing. So I really encourage that. And then this is really important. So communicate intention and tone clearly. It's a very important thing to remember when we're dealing with, a text-based communication system, which so many of us are, whether it's in an online chat or, think of it yourself, you're texting with your friend or whatever, and you go, oh, maybe I annoyed her, or, it's really easy to like misinterpret the tone of the text coming your way. And there's really easy tricks to sort of help to define what that tone and intention is. So one of the best tools is a happy face. So if I put a happy face, after like, thanks for reaching out, it immediately says I'm smiling. So, I can't go, imagine I am smiling while I'm saying this, but a little happy face does not look out of place. And it tells the person I am smiling. So happy faces are your very, very they're your very best friend when it comes to text-based communication, in my opinion. Exclamation points are really great too, because they denote importance and energy. I use it more for the energy than importance myself. So it's just putting that at the end, again, that thanks for reaching out, Mary. It's got a different energy about it than a period does. So use that, within reason, but wherever you want to sort of give that excitement to the text that you're typing. And then this is one that I see people doing this a lot in especially chat support, where they begin with your name. So Mary, thanks for reaching out, versus thanks for reaching out, Mary. I do not like to begin with a first name. It's different if it's like, hi there, Mary, thanks for reaching out. But I have seen a lot of when it's just the first name, to me, that immediately feels sort of aggressive. It reminds me of when I was, a kid in school. Mary, sit down. I was a little bit active, but yeah, so it's sort of, there's a scolding tone to it to me. So, and I know it's not going to be true for everybody, but there's enough me's in the world where I think that it just softens the tone. It makes it much more conversational when we move that name sort of into the sentence a little bit and don't begin with it. It's a very hard start. And then lastly, in this area here, we want to talk about emojis and casual language being your friend. Obviously there are some areas where this might not be ideal. If you're like, high finance and you're dealing with sort of, some major, like a stock market crash or something, that's maybe not the time to like put in, your favorite emoji and, yo, what's up? But I think, it's really important to make sure that when we're having these conversations with our community, that we're speaking sort of on their level with them in their language and in the way way that is going to make, you know, them feel like you're part of that community that you're saying you're providing, right? So we need to speak with people, not sort of, you know, down at them. And, you know, professionalism is important, but I think more and more professional language is definitely becoming more casual. And that's really the intent behind that, is to really connect with people and not be separated from them as the corporation versus the little guy, right? We're in it together and let's talk. Okay, let's jump into number 4, right? So we're going to respond to all reviews, whether they're negative, whether they're positive, whether they're mediocre. We're going to take the time to respond. So this is a negative review. I guess it's hard to even call it a review. It's just a star. There's nothing more to it. Kanisha does not like this company. Now, we looked into it. There are no orders from a person with anything that looked like it could be this person. My assumption is that this is a fake review. But we need to take the time to respond to this, even though it's a fairly just like lackluster, whatever, it'd be easy to ignore. But we're just taking the time to say, you know what, we couldn't locate any orders from you. Please contact us directly if you know we're missing something and we can help you. What we're going to do here is, you know, if there is an actual problem, we'll hopefully address it. But most importantly, I think what's going on here is it's a fake review, and people will be able to see that. So when, you know, if I'm looking up a company and I see a 1 star and then I see a response from the owner like this, I know, okay, you know what, just disregard that review. That's not really something that I need to worry about, because likely it's not real. And then we also want to take the time to respond to the positive reviews. Positive reviews are actually pretty easy to ignore in a way, because they did the job for you. Why do you have to say anything, right? But if we take the time to reply to those reviews, number 1, we're going to reinforce that positive connection with this person. They've taken the time to write this. They did not need to do that. Soliciting those positive reviews is a lot harder than the negative ones. So when a person has taken the time to say, I really like this company, they've already begun to really form an emotional connection to you. So you're just solidifying that, reinforcing it by taking the time to reply to them and thank them for taking that time. The other thing is, it's also going to encourage other people to also take the time to write a positive review. I know when I see positive reviews and I see a company reply, I am far more likely to take the time as well, because I'm like, oh, they're reading it, they're seeing it, and they're appreciating it. So then lastly, within the create and nurture positivity section here today, we are going to give them something good to talk about, because really, you know, as just noted, the negative reviews are easier to solicit than the positive ones, right? So what is it that I'm doing that actually is going to create the great reviews? You know, it's one thing to want them, but why will people give them to me? There is just work on your part that you're going to need to do to really encourage them. You know, it's not a, you know, I'm just going to be in business and people are going to love me situation. So in this case, you can see this company, they have fast shipping. That's their thing. That's one of, you know, they've got a lot of other really great things. They've had really great customer service comments and that sort of thing. But you see time and time again, you know, whether it's a year ago, 2 months ago, it's great shipping, you know, fast shipping is sort of their key point. And we'll talk a little bit more about that at the very end of my little bonus tip. So we're going to jump right now into the last section here, which is seeing the person and being a person. This is probably the most important thing when it comes to building those real, true sort of brand loyalty based sort of connection points, those things that take somebody from just like wanting to buy your product to loving your brand. So these are just simple things in some ways and more complex in others, but one of the most basic, and you're like, duh, of course, use names, but a lot of people don't, so I'm gonna note it. So one of the most basic things to do here is use names. So when you're having those conversations, hi Dave, thanks for the message. It's so easy, you know, if it's a Facebook message, if it's a chat, if it's an email, oftentimes that name's already there, so use it. And then when appropriate, using a team member's name is really helpful as well. And this also sort of, it makes you more human, and it also helps them to be a little bit more understanding, especially if they're in a frustrated spot. So for example, one of the clients that I have, they have somebody on their support team named Nancy who deals with people who have product issues. And so if you're, if they're reaching out through like a social chat, and they're, saying, oh, I have this problem, blah, 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 I'm able to, or whoever's on the team is able to reply back and say, you know what, Nancy from our customer support team is going to get back to you later today. Thanks. Of course, we're going to do all the other communication that we've already talked about. But I've found time and time again, if I put a name there, people are way softer. They're in their replies. They're less frustrated, and they also are far more generous with their patients. So when I say someone from customer support is going to get back to you, they're like, ugh, when? Of course. Okay, next step. When I say Nancy is going to get back to you, they're like, oh, Nancy, cool. Okay, cool. And if it takes, maybe a day longer, they're like, I haven't heard from Nancy yet. And it just changes the tone of the conversation completely. And then, of course, using your own name when appropriate. So I don't love the like, hi Dave, it's Mary here. I find that a little bit too formal, and it actually is a little bit disconnected in my opinion, because it seems kind of canned, whereas I prefer to fit your name in the best space possible, which is much more the way that we chat in real relationships and communicate as, just friends. So here's an example, somebody left a good recommendation, and the reply here from the business is, thanks so much, Christy, yada, yada, everything's great. And then best wishes, Tammy. And it's just an easy way to sort of pop your name in there, create that human connection, and in a casual way, the way that we sort of communicate with our friends, as opposed to, that very sort of more disconnected, hi, Christy, Tammy here, da, 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 da. So, yeah, okay, let's hop into the next step. I want to make sure that I don't run out of time, so just being conscious of that. So next, we want to make sure that we acknowledge comments and communications, all of them. So similarly to what we said with the reviews, we want to do that sort of across the board, whether it's emails, whether it's chats or social comments, comments on ads, that sort of thing. I see that a lot on social, like companies with ads and comments just blow it up and nobody's showing up. Don't let it blow up, please, get in there and stop that train. So anyway, so here's some ways that we can do that. So even when you can't help or gain anything, it's really important, because these are like those first steps that you can maybe form an ongoing relationship with. So you might be able to have a stock answer, thanks so much for reaching out. This is not, within my wheelhouse, or I can't help you with this, but I'd love to be able to work with you in other ways. Here's sort of what I focus on, whatever it might be, but don't miss that opportunity and don't leave them high and dry. And reactions on social media, and I just sort of, mentioned that they're just so quick and easy. A comment's even better if you have the time to do that. But try not to leave people, hanging. It's so easy to sit there and just, heart, like whatever it is, if somebody's like, oh, I really love this product, or I had a great time at whatever, just take that time to just sort of, acknowledge that they took the time, especially shares on social. When people share, if you can go through and give that a little heart, or say, thank you for sharing, we're happy you're happy with this product, whatever it might be. When you do, sort of actions like this, it really shows that you're present and available, and it turns you into a person rather than just be a company. It shows that you're, part of the space that they're in, and you're actively participating in that. And then if somebody's upset, it obviously, can immediately reduce that frustration and anger as well. One of the things that I think, especially, this is again on social media, like Twitter, I don't know how many Twitter rants I've seen about companies. That seems to be one of the go-to places for that. But if you, just leave it be, we've all seen it, right? It can blow up very quickly, and everybody has an opinion. The sooner you can get on top of that and add a reply, the less likely there will be, the stacking on effect, on that thread. So I like to make sure that I get in there and and say, hey, I'm here, you know, I see what you're saying, and I'm really sorry for your experience, and I'd really love to be able to chat with you about this. I usually try to pull that into, like, you know, a private message if at all possible as well. But it will definitely help them to calm down. People get more and more angry and frustrated the longer and longer they have to wait to hear back from a company. And then obviously, all of these communications are the perfect opportunity to create a human relationship. Every time we do not connect or comment or reply, we are losing an opportunity to be that person to that person, right? So it's an opportunity that's waiting for you. Don't ignore it. Okay, we're gonna go number 3 here. I gotta be quick. Take the time to look deeper. Okay, I mentioned this a little bit earlier when we were talking about empathizing and relating. This is a wonderful story I love so much. One of my clients had somebody very angry last September. They hated the company. It was just, you know, it seemed, the response seemed a little bit over the top for what we could see. So I saw a lot of Facebook messages coming through, emails. There was anger, and I was like, something's not adding up here. I got to look a little deeper. So I went over onto their personal Facebook page. I took a look, and I was able to very quickly see that they were experiencing a sort of personal trauma. It was an anniversary of a death in their family, and I went, okay, I get it. There's anger, there's sadness, and it's coming out, and we're sort of the safe place. So I didn't then, you know, go back and mention anything about that. You know, that's their personal life, so I'm not going to do that. But I was able to say, you know what, we need to be educated by this, and the way that we're responding, we need to be very sort of a little softer and a little bit more conscious of everything that we're saying and doing here. And we were able to change that review into one that is wonderful. She recommends, she's been a repeat customer and loves everything. Isn't that great? And it was just taking a little time to look a little deeper. That same customer, this was an email from the owner of the company. She's like, the softer approach totally worked. She ordered again in January, February, another 10 orders before that. And then on the 26th, just after sort of, you know, COVID hit, this customer sent a message talking about how she'd been spending $1,000 a month at the shop, which is true. So we really were able to turn that around by just seeing the person. So then we're going to not be annoying. Okay, this is the other thing, right? This is a client of mine. I'm very conscious of time. That's why I keep looking down here. So they had this fabulous review. Isn't that great? And then they pushed it. They were like, oh, we want that other, you know, we want that fabulous Yelp review on Google too. Well, this is the Google review that they got. This person had a wonderful time. They got completely annoyed by being inundated by requests to post a review on Google. So they took their time finally to do it, and they gave them a 1 star. So be grateful for what you get. Don't push your luck. Lastly here, put yourself in their shoes. If you like it, if you hate it, they probably do too. So take notes when you're in chat support with other companies. Take notes when you send those emails off to other companies. Take notes when you encounter things that you love and you hate, because your tool chest is yourself. Provide for other people the exact same experience that you find creates that connection for you with other brands in your travels as a human being, as a person. That is the best sort of tool that you've got. And we have hardly any time left, so let's go to this bonus tip really, really fast. You're going to highlight how you're different. So I was talking about all those reviews about fast shipping. So we were able to find out that the competitors for this company, they all suck at shipping. They're bad at shipping. They're really long wait times. So look at the comments and questions on competitor profiles, search related social groups and competitor name mentions, read Google, Yelp, Facebook reviews, find out what your competitors are being complained about, and then be awesome at that, and then highlight it. So this was like our Facebook cover photo saying, yep, we're open. This was after COVID when a lot of things were closed, and we ship fast. So that's all I have time for. Here's your cheat sheet. Take a screenshot. This is sort of all the things that we covered today. I am sorry to be rushing it right now, but I had such a great time doing this virtually with you. I miss that human connection right now, but I'm looking forward to doing it maybe next year. Thanks so much for being here with me, guys. Have a good day.